Hi, I'm Margaret. Huh? Hi, I'm Margaret and welcome to my artsy corner of the internet. Today is episode 3 of the college dance major series thing where I talk about getting into college for dance and stuff. So today we're going to be talking about how to get to know a college online. I think the best way to learn about a dance program is to go and visit. And I honestly think the audition class that you have with whatever college you're going to is going to be the best way to get a feel for that program. But flying all over the country and going to auditions is expensive and time consuming and stressful. And also you can't go and audition for every college that you're looking at. So how do you get to know a college and narrow down your list? The first thing that you should probably do is look at the specifics of each school. Think about things like tuition, location, what degrees are offered, how much scholarship you can get, what's the average ACT score, what's the average GPA coming in, what's the acceptance rate, and gauge the entire school as a whole. If you're not interested in going to a small arts college, then you can probably check all of those off the list. And once all of those are off the list, if you're looking for a large-scale university, you can go and look for those. So yeah, look at the specifics of the school as a whole first. The second thing I would do is go to YouTube and look up performances from that dance program. I personally found that watching videos of the dancers actually dancing, and especially in performances, is a great way to gauge the level of dancing at a college. You can gather a lot of information based on the types of shows they put on, how many shows they put on, and the dancing within the shows. Not only can you see probably how seriously the dancers take it, but you see which styles are most prevalent. I personally think that watching performances from different schools impacted my decision to go to that school over anything else. Number 3 might sound a little superficial, but go to their Instagram page. Most college dance programs will have a college dance page. Sometimes it's a little hard to find because it's not always just like school name, dance program. So do a little bit of digging on the gram and I'm sure you'll come across the page eventually. Sometimes the Instagrams are student run, sometimes they're run by the actual programs, but you'll often see what alumni are up to. You'll see any special guests that have come in and worked with them. You sometimes get snippets from class. You can get a good feel of what the studios look like. And if any of the dancers who go to that school are tagged in the images, you can go to their accounts and see what they do. Are they working on choreographic projects? Are they performing with professional companies? Are they doing Broadway? Are they, I don't know what else they might be doing, but you can also get a good feel for the student body and what they're up to. But of course, always remember that everything that's put onto social media is that highlight reel that everybody talks about. And so nobody's gonna post about how much they dislike this professor or they don't like their school. So you are gonna see the glorified version of the school on Instagram, but you can still get a pretty good read about it. Also on social media, I would recommend looking for any alumni announcements. I mentioned before that they usually post about alumni if they do something really cool, so you can see where people are working professionally. So if most of their alumni are getting into ballet companies, that's a very different school program probably than a school whose alumni just made it onto Broadway. If you can't find any alumni announcements, if you scroll way back on their Instagram feed and find the people who were liking, commenting, or there were photos of them from about 4 or more years back, then you can click on their Instagram pages, do a little bit of digging, and since they were there 4+ years ago, they're alumni now. So you can kind of see what they're up to as well. I think this is number 5. I don't know, I wasn't really counting. But I would recommend going to the dance website and looking up the faculty. I would say that faculty and your classmates are kind of a big deal when you're going into college because these are the people who are going to actually be teaching you, and they're the people that you get access to their connections. So there's a couple different ways that this can play out. Maybe a lot of the faculty members are from your dream company. They probably have connections with that company. Maybe all of the teachers are in a specific style that you're really interested in. That's another great place to start. Some schools have a lot of high name teachers where they were big in the industry and they're recognizable. That's great. But there are also some phenomenal teachers out there who aren't famous. They're just really good teachers. You can also always go on to Rate My Professor, but usually these can be skewed by people who take gen ed dance classes. I would definitely research any faculty members and see if they feel like people that you would be interested in working with. Next is when you dive into the actual curriculum of the program. Usually if you Google the school name and then dance major requirements, a web page will probably pull up where it shows you all the requirements to be a dance major. Sometimes it's a little bit harder to find. You might have to go onto the dance program page and then scroll down and find requirements or curriculum. But here is where they will show you what classes you need to take over the course of your 4 years there. So you might realize that every semester you need a ballet class and a modern class. Or at another program, maybe they just offer 5 different styles every semester and you have to choose 1 or 2 of those. On top of this, you'll also find all of the extra classes you're taking. So some schools might make you take 3 years of choreography, where other schools might have 0 requirements for choreography. Similarly, some schools might make you perform every semester, where other schools have no performance requirements. It's also important to look at the other curriculum. Some people have anatomy and history, other people have costuming and stage managing. So look for what you're gonna have to take. And if one school offers these extra classes that you're more interested in, that might be a better use of your time because you'll be taking more classes that you enjoy. Also, if you don't want to go straight into performance and maybe you do want to be a stage manager or a teacher, I would look for programs that have and offer more classes in those other areas that you're more interested in. You might not even think about looking at these when you're just focused on getting into a good technical program and everything else that comes with college application, but you are going to be spending a lot of time and effort on these other required classes. So you'll probably want to try to find a degree where the classes you have to take are interesting to you. The next thing that you need to check out is the core curriculum for the entire college. This, I would say, is more for people who are looking at a university type setting over a more arts-focused college, but most colleges do have the general core curriculum. This means your English, your math, your science. It's the worst. Personally, when I was looking for colleges, I purposely looked for colleges with minimal core curriculum because I knew I didn't want to be doing a year of gen eds before I could get into dance. Some other things that you want to think about when looking at these core curriculums are: 1, is there a max amount of credits that you can take? At my college, I can only take 15 credits per semester before they start charging extra. And this is college, so everything is ridiculously expensive. An extra credit might cost you $1,000, and most classes are 3 credits. So if you have to go over one class, you might be paying $3,000 to $5,000 extra dollars a semester to take one extra class. I know, college sucks. I would also just run some math and see if you can double major or minor with the amount of credits. So basically, go back and look at the dance curriculum and the amount of credits that's needed to graduate with a dance major. Then if you want to double major or minor, look up that minor or your double major and see how many credits it would take to complete that. Add those 2 together and see how many total credits you would need. From there, if there is a credit cap, times the max amount of credits you're allowed to take, times the amount of semesters you're going to be there. So if you can take 10 credits per semester and you're going to be there for 8 semesters or 4 years, then you'll have 80 credits. Most colleges allow more than 10, but I need simple math because I'm a dance major. If it's going to take you 85 or 100 credits to double major, you might have to spend extra time or be willing to pay more money to get a double major. So that is something definitely to keep in mind if you are interested in getting more than one degree. This will also show you how much time you're going to have in your schedule. I would definitely also look to see if the college will accept AP scores. I was able to test out of, I think, almost 12 credits of core curriculum because of my AP test scores, which was great because that's basically an entire semester of core curriculum that I just didn't have to do, which allows more time in my schedule to take either classes I'm interested in or work on a minor. Obviously, this is much more once you get into the dirt. You probably don't have to look this up for every college that you're looking at, but once you kind of get to like a top 20 list of schools that you're interested in, you can start getting more into the weeds on this kind of stuff. So now we're gonna get into much more specific questions and less broad strokes about the program. I would definitely go on to Google Maps. This sounds crazy, but if you're gonna be living on a campus for a while, you wanna get a feel for what the campus looks like. Also, I would specifically look at the arts building and see what it looks like. This can also sometimes give you a hint into how well funded the program is, because if it's a really ratty old building and it's kind of gross, you might conclude that the arts are less well funded than a school that might have just built a brand new dance building. But more importantly, you're going to be spending so much of your time in this dance building, so you probably want to get a good feel and just look at the street view of the building, see if it looks nice or not. I would also highly recommend searching for photos of the studios. As I said, you're going to be spending 4 years in these studios, so you probably want them to look nice. I don't think you really understand the impact windows make until you dance in a studio without windows. So if you're looking at photos of the studio and they're kind of small and maybe they're in a basement and there's a pole in the middle, compared to a school maybe where they have very large studios with windows and it's all beautiful, I mean, it might sound superficial, but that can really impact how dance takes a toll on you. I would also recommend maybe getting the dimensions of like your bedroom or your home studio, and then looking up the dimensions of the studios at the college that you're looking at. Again, I feel like this sounds really superficial, but you're gonna be dancing in these studios for 4 years. So if the studio is smaller than your bedroom, that might be hard if you have 30 people in your class. Again, these are all very specifics, but if you can't go and tour a college in person, these little specifics are things that you might forget to look up. But if you went there in person and saw the studios and saw how small they are, it might leave a lasting impact that you might miss if you're just looking things up on Google. I mean, trust me, some rooms look a lot bigger on the internet than what they are in real life. I would look into if they have an athletic trainer or physical therapy available to the dancers. Personally, at my program, we have an athletic trainer and it is like the best thing ever. And actually a lot of people end up coming to our school because we have an athletic trainer just for dancers. Other programs might let you use the training that's offered to athletes on campus, and others might have nothing at all. Also, don't forget about the rest of the school. You do a lot of research into dance, like watching videos to see the technique, but don't forget the rest of university life. If Greek life is important to you, look up the Greek life and see what that's like. If you really want a Christian organization on campus, look to see what's available. Obviously, if neither of those things are important to you, find what's important to you on campus, or something that you want to be involved in when you go to college, because those are just as enriching and as important as your dance training is. There might be something really cool at a college that is completely unrelated to dance that makes you want to go there instead of somewhere else. I would also research the community which the college is in and the dance community around the college. If you're going to New York City, obviously you're going to have a lot more access to classes and choreographers and shows. But New York City is also really expensive and there's a lot of dancers already there and it's highly competitive. Whereas if you go to a smaller town in Kansas, if you go to a smaller town in Kansas, there might not be as many shows that come through, there might not be as many dance studios or classes that you can take, but it'll be less saturated for dancers. So whenever somebody needs a dancer, they probably think of your program. You might end up getting more jobs in a smaller town because you might be the only dancers there, but definitely look. Some places are just completely barren and you won't be able to find any dance classes outside of your college program, where other people are fully saturated. But it also depends on what you're looking for. Finally, I highly recommend that you call the schools with any more questions that you have. It's great to talk to the directors and the faculty and anybody on staff so that you can understand the program and the culture a bit more. I personally didn't call any colleges because I was terrified to, but I feel like they definitely would have been able to give me some more information and I could get a better read for the school by talking to the person who's running the program. So definitely don't be afraid to call programs and talk to them. So those are my tips on how to really get to know a college without going in person. Of course, going in person is going to be probably the best experience, but as I already said, that's expensive and time consuming and you're probably already really stressed out. I hope this helps you guys on your college search. And of course, if you have any more tips, leave them down below. If you have any questions, leave them down below. And I'll see you guys next time for the next episode of how to get into a college dance program. Bye.